Hey everyone, what's up? Well, I am here to present the rest of the digestive system. In the previous video, we discussed about what happens to food till stomach. Now, next, when it exits the stomach, when chyme exits the stomach and enters the first part of the small intestine, which is duodenum, that we're going to explore and understand today in this video. Well, before that, let me clarify one of the common misconceptions that most of the students have. That is related to small intestine and large intestine, right? We know that the small intestine is long, and you can see that it's so long that it has to, it has to be folded and convoluted, and then it is surrounded by the large intestine. Now, if you look closer, can you spot some of the difference? It's not just the length, right? It's a difference in the diameter as well. So if we look over here, I have mentioned the length along with the diameter. The small intestine, it is approximately 22 to 23 feet long, which is, very long. But the diameter is just 1 inch. So it is long but narrow. However, if we look at large intestine, this is large intestine which is surrounding the very long, highly convoluted small intestine. You can see its length is just 5 feet. So it is just 5 feet long. But if you look at the diameter, which is evident if you look in the diagram over here, concept map, it is 4 inches. So it is because of the diameter that they are named small and large intestine and not the length. I hope I made it clear. Now let's begin to the digestion of food. What happens next? Right. Now the food chyme exits the stomach and enters the first part of the small intestine, which is duodenum. Right. In the last video, I told that duodenum receives 2 types of secretions. One is bile juice, which is secreted by liver, and second one is pancreatic juice, which is secreted by pancreas. Now, in addition to that, all right, it also, the intestinal glands also secretes intestinal juice. Intestinal juice is known as succus entericus, right? Now this intestinal juice will contain some of the very important enzymes that will further the digestion of the food. So let's see. This first one is maltase. Now maltase will act on maltose and will break it down to glucose. Now let's simplify it, right? I told in the last video that whenever in biology we come across a term that has the suffix ase, which is evident over here, right? That is most probably the enzyme. Now, if there is an enzyme, there has to be substrate that it's acting on, and we're talking about digestion. That means the enzyme is acting on the substrate, hydrolyzing it and converting it into the simpler forms. Now, this maltase, what is the substrate? Maltose, right? Maltase act upon maltose, hydrolyze it, and convert it into simpler sugar, which is glucose. Likewise, we have second enzyme, lactase. Now, lactase, what would be the substrate? Of course, lactose. Now, lactose will be broken down into glucose and galactose. Next, here up we have sucrase. Now, this sucrase will act on sucrose. Of course, now we know it. And the sucrose will be broken down into glucose and fructose, which are the simplest sugars. Then what about proteins which got converted into peptides? These peptides will be acted upon the enzyme peptidase and will be getting converted into the building block now ultimately, which are amino acids. Next, just like pancreatic lipase, we have intestinal lipase. Now this intestinal lipase will act on emulsified fats and likewise will be converting it into fatty acids and cholesterol. Now these nutrients are the building blocks. So what do you understand by building blocks? That these are the nutrients that are ready to be absorbed by our body, right? So this small intestine is not just a site of complete digestion, but absorption as well, right? Now when it has to do dual functions, it really has to be efficient. So some things should make it an efficient absorptive surface. So what are the things that make small intestine very good and very efficient in absorbing all these important building blocks, right? There are 3 things that I've already mentioned here. Folds. first of all, we know it's like 22 to 23 feet long, approximately 6 meters long, right? So it has to sit folded and it is highly convoluted, right? So those folds and convolutions of course increase the surface area, but that's not it. It has finger-like projections that are known as villi, right? Now these villi, finger-like projections, will increase the surface area for better absorption of these nutrients or so-called building blocks. That is again not it. Now these villi in turn are covered by microscopic projections that are known as micro because they are microscopic, and because they are covering villi, so microvilli. So together all these three things, folds, villi and microvilli, make the small intestine the perfect and efficient absorptive surface, right? Now when the food is already absorbed, right, then it leaves the last part of the small intestine, which is ileum, and is ready to enter the large intestine, right? Now large intestine, as I already told you, it is shorter but wider. Can you see the sacculated appearance of large intestine? Well, that is because of the series of constrictions. Can you spot the series of constrictions? It gives large intestine the sacculated appearance, right? Now let's see, what does it do? Now, because obviously whole of the food, every part of it cannot be digested. So the undigested food along with a lot of water that has entered the large intestine will be absorbed by the large intestine. So large intestine would be absorbing water from the undigested food that will result in the formation of feces. What else it does? Well, it helps in propelling the feces towards the rectum. Now, what facilitates it? Remember I talked about peristalsis when I was discussing about peristalsis and esophagus in the last video? Well, yeah, it's the same thing. So it's not just the esophagus, peristalsis, which is a rhythmic wave of contraction and expansion that will continue whole of the alimentary canal, not just the esophagus. So that peristaltic, that wave, the strong wave of peristalsis along with these series of constrictions or sacculence will help propelling the feces towards the rectum. Now this rectum will store the feces temporarily and will further absorb the water if there is any water that is left. Then the last part of the alimentary canal, that is anus, it is responsible for expulsion of feces by a process which is known as egestion or defecation. Right, now defecation because we're getting rid of feces, so defecation, that is defecation. Well, that is about the human digestive system. Now let's have some of the fascinating facts about the human digestive system. Well, do you know the average person produces 2 pints of saliva every day, which is enough to fill 2 cans of soda? Well, that is a lot. There's this close connection between the digestive system and the brain. In fact, some of the times the digestive system is also known as second brain. Well, yeah, so your digestive system knows when you're stressed or when you're nervous, and that will affect the digestion of the food also. Then, do you know that your food doesn't need gravity to get to your stomach, right? The peristalsis that is happening in the esophagus does the job. So even if you were to eat hanging upside down, the food would still get to your stomach. Though I would not recommend that. I mean, why would someone eat hanging upside down when you can eat normally, yeah, and enjoy it? Then we talked about small intestine, that it is so long and it is so efficient, right? If I talk about its surface area, can you estimate the surface area? You will be surprised that it is approximately 2,700 square feet in area, which is about the size of the tennis court. That is huge. Then coming back to the last one, it's weird, but I have included it because I found it interesting. Have you ever wondered why it smells so bad when you pass gas, or I can use the word fart? And if you're looking for some cooler term, you can use the word flatulence, right? So over here, Well, coming back to the reason, it smells bad because of the gas which is being produced by the fermented bacteria. And this fermented bacteria is present in the intestine. It's a good bacteria, right? And then that gets mixed with the air and reaches our nose, and yeah, it feels bad, it feels stinky, right? Now you'll be surprised that I have also found the composition of flatulence, or you can say, fart. It consists of gases like carbon dioxide, hydrogen, methane, and even hydrogen sulfide. Now it is the presence of these gases that gives flatulence or the fart a rotten egg stench. Well, that's a wrap about human digestive system. Now coming back to a very important question, what's your takeaway? I mean, what was it in the digestive system that you liked or loved the most? And what is it that's still bothering you? Though I doubt it, but still you can mention it in the comment section and I will be explaining it in the next session. Right, guys and girls, if you think that I have made the human digestive system, which is one of the difficult topic of biology, difficult concept, simple, easy and interesting, please do not feel lazy. Do support me. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel so that I feel good, happy, and I would be encouraged to record and post more videos on my channel and will be helping you out. But till then, take very good care of yourselves. Stay happy, healthy and what? Stay curious. Bye bye.